Hi, I'm Tony. Let's have a great week. And now on to Studio 7.
What's going on, Hempfield? Today is January 10th, cycle day 1, wind day 2. Today is our penultimate show, which in the showbiz means the second to last show or show before the last show. It's interesting that there's a word for that. I'm Charlotte, and here's what's happening. For all students interested in traveling to Quebec this June, the deadline to sign up for the Quebec trip is January 31st. If you're interested in the trip, please contact Madam Tyson, stop by room 103, or scan the QR code posted in the hallways to sign up. The library will not have extended hours this Thursday or next Thursday, January 19th. We will resume normal hours starting January 26th. Please visit the library during school hours if you need help with anything. Do you hear that? I think I hear the ocean. Speaking of which, I see a pirate ship. That means it's this week's Archives of the Eld with Lizzie.
This is the 6th episode of Archives of the Eld, a segment I've been writing to highlight various moments throughout history. On January 10th, 105 years ago in 1917, 7 surviving members of the Ross Sea Party were rescued after being stranded for several months on their way to Antarctica. Sir Ernest Shackleton was a man of great adventure. Looking for a new challenge after his recent expedition, he determined his next voyage to be on foot across Antarctica. To make this trek possible, organizers sent a ship named Aurora to place depots of supplies for the crossing team at the Ross Ice Shelf. The other ship named Endurance led the team, including Shackleton, to the Weddell Sea, where they would begin their journey and travel towards the packages. The Ross Sea Party left the harbor on Christmas Day in 1914 and settled into their checkpoint with their ship anchored to the ice of Cape Evans, preparing to send sledging groups to drop off the depots. Many factors led to friction within the party. Captain Aeneas McIntosh had caused them to lose several sled dogs due to pushing them too hard, against the advice of Ernest Joyce. Conflict arose between the two due to Shackleton's vagueness of who was in charge. Worst of all, the group of 10 became stranded on the ice in May after a violent storm took the ship out to sea along with most of their supplies and equipment. Instead of returning like the party expected, the ship became lodged in ice and remained stuck for just over a year before she would break loose again. With the first depot-laying group still traveling, the remaining 4 rummaged frantically to find food and supplies left behind in the hut of Scott Cape Evans. They were able to gather tins of oatmeal, jam, flour, and some pemmican. The only clothing they had was that on their backs and some extra underwear. The group resorted to killing seals for fuel and meat. Once the ice firmed up enough for McIntosh's group to return from their expedition, they learned of Aurora's departure. Despite this, the party still had to commit to their job of laying depots, or else Shackleton and his party would not survive. Further discovery within their shelter found kerosene, 2 Primus stoves, cake, chocolate, sleeping bags, socks, and most importantly, a tent, which the party used to sew more sledging clothes. In Mount Hope, at the foot of Beardmore Glacier, is where the furthest depot was established, as the group made plans to carry 4,000 pounds of supplies to the ice shelf. While traveling, McIntosh and scientist Fred Stevens found food, tobacco, soap, and cigars in Shackleton's hut in Cape Royds. At the beginning of January in 1916, the party using a Primus stove had to turn back due to damage of the appliances. The group was becoming weaker too, as McIntosh lost his strength and their chaplain Arnold Patrick Spencer Smith fell ill with scurvy. Leaving him in a tent, the party went on to place the supplies at the point in Mount Hope. Upon their return, Spencer Smith lacked the ability to walk, so they carried him on a sledge until they had to bury him in the ice after his death on March 8th. This left the rest of the pack with scurvy, but they managed to reach Hut Point by March 11th, even when confronted by a blizzard along the way. It was calculated that the group should wait 4 months before the surface could provide them with a safe journey to Cape Evans. But it was only May 8th when McIntosh decided that he and Haywood would walk the 12-mile passage. This was their ultimate downfall, and they were never seen again. It was in mid-July when the remaining 3 would make the voyage to reunite with the other 4 in Cape Evans. But the rescue would still be a long way away. It was just under 6 months later when Dick Richards spotted a ship while hunting seals. As Aurora approached, the men were pleased to realize that Shackleton was one of the men on board. The Ross Sea Party ordeal came to an end once the group docked in Wellington on the 9th of February in 1917. Surviving on the ice for 199 days without sufficient support or clothing, this party overcame great obstacles and risked their lives committing to their mission.
Now it's time for weather and menu. Looks like after school it's going to be 40 and cloudy, but the sun will come again tomorrow with a high of 46. And for the menu tomorrow, it's going to be hot and spicy chicken sandwich and chicken noodle soup. We are so close to the end of semester, Hempfield. Make sure to do your best on your finals if you have them. The end is in sight. I am super excited to have anchored our penultimate Studio 7 show. Have a great day.